Week 12 running backs here on the Fantasy Cruncher YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the like button on the channel. It really helps us a lot. We're going to be going through the Week 12 running backs on DraftKings. We've got a lot of options this week, so honestly, let's just kind of get right to it. So Christian McCaffrey leads it off at 10.5K. That's a lot of money for Christian McCaffrey. I love him. I think he's a really, really good option this week, as any week, but it's tough. 10.5K for a running back whose team's got 19 projected points. That's tough. But, you can see he's been a beast all season. 33, 29, 40, 30. He definitely gets you a floor in your lineups. So if value opens up across the week, I'll try to get Christian McCaffrey in my lineups. But honestly, right now, really not a whole lot of value. So it's hard for me to say right now I'm going to get to him. But I would love to, obviously. Just like you would, I'm sure, because he's awesome. Alvin Kamara at 8,200 is probably going to be the highest owned running back of the week. He draws a fantastic matchup against Carolina here. He's been inconsistent for sure, but he goes hurt in week 6. And in week 10 against the Falcons, they just kind of didn't play very well. And he still got 12 touches, 8 receptions, which is just phenomenal on DraftKings with that PPR scoring. And then you can see against Tampa, he played a lot better. 23 touches. Now, you're not going to catch 10 of 10 targets every week, but he also didn't score a touchdown. I think he's in a phenomenal spot here against this Carolina defense to get a touchdown. We haven't really seen the ceiling since week 3 where he put up that 37-point game, but I definitely think this is a situation where we can do it. So right now, Kamara's the top-end guy I'm trying to pay for. Nick Chubb, really hard for me to pay this price. I know it's the Miami Dolphins, and there's a ton of upside, but Kareem Hunt's taken a ton of the receiving work away from Nick Chubb. So I know it wasn't a ton to begin with, but, getting those 3 or 4 catches a game on DraftKings is 6 or 7 points. Like, this is 4 points, that's 7.6, that's 7.5, that's 4, that's 3, that's 7. It adds up, right? You don't think that, you're like, oh, he doesn't have a ton of receiving work, but those 6 or 7 points makes a difference, Week 2, if he doesn't have those 7 points, he's at 12. Week 3, if he doesn't have those 7 points, he's at 10, right? So it matters. To hit that ceiling, you need a running back that not only can run the football, but also can catch it. And right now, that's not Nick Chubb. So 8,100 against the Dolphins, that's definitely my fade of the week. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Saquon Barkley here. He honestly isn't the same. He had 13 attempts for 1 yard. And we're starting to hear whispers out of New York about shutting him down. I don't think they shut him down this week necessarily, but you can tell that they're thinking about it. So we'll see how that injury kind of plays out across the week. If he plays, I kind of like the matchup here. It's definitely a low total, and no one's going to give him credit, but he's one of the best running backs in the league. He can go off at any point. So if he's going to be super low owned, I like him as a tournament contrarian option. As we kind of scroll down, Ezekiel Elliott against the Patriots. I don't really play players against the Patriots. That defense is just phenomenal, as we saw once again against the Eagles. Looks like Baltimore was the blip on the radar, and definitely not the start of a trend. So tough for me to play Ezekiel Elliott, especially when Tony Pollard's starting to get more work. And given how effective he was last game, I don't expect that to stop this week. So as we kind of scroll down to the mid-tier, the first place I'm stopping is Derrick Henry. The Titans' offense basically revolves around Derrick Henry, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. 3 of the 4 last weeks, 18 fantasy points, 24, 36. Had that dud at Tampa, but he still got 16 carries, just didn't happen to score a touchdown. So for me, I'm going back to the well here. Jacksonville, 27th against the running back this season. They give up a ton of points to running backs. Derrick Henry is their offense. Ryan Tannehill is not very good, but they had to use him because Marcus Mariota is just really unstartable. So for me, Derrick Henry, 6,900. Fantastic price. I should have said nice price. A very nice price here. For me, I really like the play of Derrick Henry if I'm looking in the mid-tier. As we kind of go down a little bit, it gets a little bit ugly. Le'Veon Bell is an interesting play at 6,400. I think he's going to be pretty popular this week. People love to play Le'Veon Bell when he gets cheap, and it makes sense. Last 3 weeks, 27 touches. I'm sorry, that's 25 touches. 22 touches and 20 touches. Getting a guy getting the vast majority of the work at 6,400 is always nice. The problem is we really haven't seen the ceiling this year. He just hasn't put the 2 touchdown game together. Hasn't hit a bonus yet this year, which on DraftKings is a big deal. We're in week 12, and if you haven't hit the rushing bonus one time, that kind of matters. It's a fantastic matchup against the Oakland defense, who is coming off of a good win against the Bengals, but it's the Bengals, right? They really shouldn't be giving up any points, and they kind of showed some leaks. So Le'Veon Bell right now is projected at 19.5% owned. I think he gets a little bit higher. I'm pretty much on the fence here. If he's not going to get me a bonus, pretty tough for me to get in love with it. But I think he's a fine option. I think the nice pivot from him is James White at 5,300 against the Dallas defense. The Dallas defense is really good against the run. Those linebackers can come downhill. And as we can kind of see, James White's been pretty consistent all year. You don't think of James White having been consistent because he hasn't run the ball, but he's been getting a ton of targets this season. He's got over 60 targets on the season, and he hasn't gotten a lot of touchdowns. He's got 2 on the season. But if he gets, 6 catches for 45 yards, that's 10.5. Tack on a touchdown, that's 16 fantasy points for 5,300. I don't think James White's poor touchdown luck's going to continue forever. And here against the Dallas Cowboys, where I think they're going to need to spread the ball out a little bit more and get the passing game rolling, really like James White. I think he's going to be super low owned this week. As you kind of scroll down, Phillip Lindsay against Buffalo has some interesting upside, but it's November in Buffalo. Pretty tough for me to get super worked up about it. I like the play, but I'm not in love with it necessarily. Splitting that work with Freeman, I hate guys that split work. I want to know my guy is the guy, and the price is nice. You're definitely getting that price worked in, but I'm just not sure there's a big enough ceiling here. Miles Sanders against Seattle, up to 5K now. He's priced up from 3,700 after getting all the work against the Pats. We'll see the status on Jordan Howard, how much Jay Ajayi gets worked in that offense. I can't say I'm on him now, but if for some reason Howard's out and people are saying Jay Ajayi is getting slow to the playbook, and remember, Jay Ajayi was on this team last year, so he should know most of the playbook. So I kind of think this is going to get back to a committee sooner rather than later. So I'm probably not going to Miles Sanders, but there's definitely a road where that could happen. Darius Geis against Detroit at 4,700 is the next play I wanted to talk about. Got 9 touches in that game against the Jets and looks really good. Scored a 45-yard touchdown on a pass. He just looked phenomenal. I think this is going to get up to 12 to 13 this week. Maybe this isn't the week because it's still only 12 to 13 touches, but Darius Geis is going to win someone $1 million, in my opinion, before this season's over. So I kind of want to just keep having Darius Geis every week. So he's going to be 0.5 to 1% owned. I'll play 5 to 10% of him. I just want to have him. When he goes off, I don't want to be the guy that goes, why did I fade Darius Geis? Phenomenal talent, was a high second-round pick out of LSU, was the back after Fournette. Just injuries in the NFL have really hurt him, but he's super talented and really shouldn't be priced down here. If you think I'm wrong on James White, Sony Michel at 4,600, I think is also a really interesting play against Dallas. They're pretty poor against the straight-up run, but as you can just see, he hasn't really flashed any upside, hasn't scored a touchdown since week 7. And honestly, I don't really expect him to score one this week, but 4,600 for a guy who is going to get the majority of the goal line work, even if he's in a platoon with James White and Rex Burkhead, he can definitely fall into the end zone twice against Dallas. So 4,600, I don't want to completely ignore him, but also doesn't have that ceiling. Finally, Kalen Ballage. Look, he's awful. I fully acknowledge he's awful, but he's going to get all the work on this team. He gets all the work here. It's a decent matchup this week against the Cleveland Browns. Everyone scored fantasy points on the Cleveland Browns. It's not fun. It's not pretty. It's not sexy. But again, if he falls into the end zone once, it's pretty hard for him not to get you 13 to 14 points, which is all you're looking for 4,400. Again, thank you very much for watching the running back video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Wide receivers, tight end, and defense coming out later this week. And leave in the comments section, who do you think is going to be the highest scoring running back this week? We'd love to hear it. Until then, we'll see you next time.